From Opera Bracelets. Happy National Opera Week. As some of you might know, I have a new online business coach and she's just introducing us to all kinds of new stuff. So I'm trying to be technology girl today. I got a new special light combo iPhone holder thing that clamps on to nearly nothing in my house that's currently holding the iPhone finally. And it comes with a funky light. It's got warm light, cool light, blended light, all kinds of high to low, I mean, who knows. So that's on. I'm hooked up with a microphone, and if you've ever seen Singing in the Rain with Lena Lamont and the microphone strung through her clothes, well, it's great, right? Because it's gonna have good sound, this video, except Cindy usually forgets that it's strung through her shirt, and usually we end up with technology problem when I go to get up and forget and everything goes flying. So we'll try not to do that today. And I'm hoping that Andrew will be able to take this video and chop it up a little bit with some magical editing into a permanent video on, let's see if I can do this right, the 7 opera myths that keep people from trying out opera. So let's see if I can get that looking good and he can edit it properly. 7 opera myths debunked. Okay, and I have notes so we can get them all and not forget any of them. Opera myth number 1 is, I don't like opera. Now, normally these statements are made by people who have never really experienced any opera. And that's hard to get past, granted, but saying I don't like opera is like saying I don't like movies or I don't like television shows. There are lots of different kinds of opera. There are comedies, tragedies, short ones, long ones. They take place in ancient times, they take place in the 1800s, or they take place in the future, or somebody has made something crazy, some crazy combo out of it, or somebody just wrote it last year. There's all kinds of opera, so saying I don't like opera is not a valid point. Give it a try. Although if you saw The Exterminating Angel as your first opera, I can forgive you for thinking maybe you don't like opera. I've got 3 exceptions to people who probably don't like opera. The first one is people who don't like musicals. Now, I don't think there's anything we can do about that. If they don't like musicals, chances are opera's not going to translate properly for them, and they're not going to like it any better sung in French or Spanish than they do in English. So people who like musicals, they're out. Number 2 person is the person who sees something once and that's it. Because with operas, it's great to see it the first time and you experience the story and the intensity and it's all wonderful. But we know that when you see operas multiple times, you gain an increased relationship with the music. You start to understand how different themes in the music may mean different things. Something is added each time that you experience an opera. So I'm the kind of person, before I came to opera, I mean, I've seen Star Wars 100 times. And if I've got a favorite movie, I'll see it over and over and over again, or a TV show, whatever. You know, I'm into the repetition. Someone who's there are people who they see a movie once and that's it. They're on to the next thing. This kind of person might not, still borderline, but might not be your opera person. And the third type of person who may not like opera, unless it is in their native language, is the kind of person who will not, cannot, does not like subtitles. And it does not bother me. Sometimes even when I'm watching British shows, I gotta put closed captioning on, you know what I mean? So if they are anti-subtitle, chances are, unless the opera's in their native language, they are not going to be good with it. Okay, so those are my 3 exceptions for people who might not like opera. But generally saying, I don't like opera is kind of a general blanket statement, which may not mean anything. So, still give that person a try, even if they say that. Opera myth, well, let me look at my notes first. This part Andrew can edit out. Make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, opera myth number 2. I need to speak another language in order to understand what's going on. Okay, that's wrong, because we live in modern times. Like, that might have been right in 1800, but we live in modern times, like the 1980s. They invented subtitles and supertitles. When you go to the opera, they have it like above the screen. You can read the text of everything that's going on. You will know what's going on. And to us in the opera world, we may think, oh, we know that. But you can go out to your grocery store or wherever you go to in everyday life and take 10 people who do not know this basic fact. This is the basic marketing fall down of opera. Okay, there are subtitles and the world needs to know about it. And when you go to the Met Live in HD or the Royal Opera House in cinema, they got subtitles. So I'll be out in the world, business and whatever, and people do literally think, I'm not going to pay a high price for a ticket for theater, and I'm going to go in there and not understand what's going on, because it's in French, German, Spanish, whatever. Italian. So, it's not true. They have subtitles. This is like an ad campaign that all the opera companies should get it on together and like get out there and have a promotion that, hey, yeah, you're gonna understand the story. So that is opera myth number 2. Opera myth number 3 is operas are always sad and depressing. Okay, not true. Some are pretty sad and depressing. Some, like everybody dies. That's not, it's not technically a myth. Sometimes operas are like that. But there are comedies in opera as well. There is The Elixir of Love and all the Gilbert and Sullivans. I mean, I can go through a list of comedies in opera that you should try. My husband's like that with Shakespeare. If it's tragedy, he doesn't want to go. If it's a comedy, he's all over it. So, we have Wikipedia now. You could take a little peek, see if it's comedy or tragedy, make a decision before you buy a ticket. But you can't just say all opera is sad, because that's just not true. Opera myth number 4. All operas are long. Okay. There are some operas that are 6 hours long. Parsifal, Götterdämmerung, they're up there. I have to say, though, when I have attended those operas, while parts of them have seemed slow, parts of them have flown by. I have been to shorter operas that seemed longer than Götterdämmerung. But there are also short operas. There is a whole pantheon of one-act operas out there. And then if you go to something like, say, Turandot, each act is about 40-45 minutes. And, that intermission is a joy because you get to go, get some popcorn or champagne if you're at the real theater, or, go to the bathroom. So intermission is a blessing. So it's not all long. And, most of the time the acts, if you break them into pieces, are not that long either. And, hopefully you're riveted by the drama enough to, hang in there. So, I mean, try Dr. Zhivago. You want something slow, okay? Slow and long, okay? So you can't just, blame it on opera that it's long. It happens in the movies, too, and, sometimes things just should have been a miniseries, but they weren't. So, that's opera myth number... That was 4. Opera is always long. Okay, number 5. You have to dress fancy to go to the opera, and I'm not going to go, get Spanx and pantyhose and heels and a ball gown and or a tux to go to the opera. Because, I don't know if I like opera in the first place. So people, have this misconception. They have to be all super dressed up to go to the opera. Okay. I've never been to the opera in anything more than black jeans and Skechers. Okay, sometimes I'll get a sparkly shirt, and of course we have opera bracelets on, and fancy earrings, and I dress up in the best me I can get there. I haven't worn heels in 30-something years, maybe more. The ball gown phase never happened. I haven't worn a dress in many a moon as well. So it isn't going to happen, because it's really important when you're paying lots of money and got to sit through an opera that may not be as short as your last movie you went to. You want to be comfortable. So I even went to an opera gala opening night, black jeans and Skechers. No one's looking at you. They're looking at the people who did wear the ball gowns, and bless them. If you are the ball gown type, it's beautiful. It's just not me. It may not be you, or it might be you. You might want to make the hugest special occasion out of it you can because you love opera so much, which is fantastic. But it's not required. It's not required to be all gussied up. Just be the best you can bring there and absolutely enjoy the opera. Opera myth number 6. You need to be highly educated to understand opera. Okay, opera is just like going to, the theater. You went to see Wicked or Phantom. Granted, I had a little trouble understanding Phantom as well. But, you're going just to see, say, a play or something. You're not expected to go and sort of do 20 hours of research on it before you go. You experience the story. So that is what opera is. You go and you experience the story. And the music adds to the story. Whenever I get a chance to go into an opera that I know nothing about, I consider it to be a fantastic blessing and great experience. To experience something for the first time is magical. But when you see things multiple times, it enriches the experience. You start to understand how the music tells the story as well. And each time you see it, you get something more out of it, which is also true of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but we'll leave that for another day. You get more out of it as you go along, you learn more, but you don't have to spoil your first experience of an opera by doing 20 hours of research on the thing. You just go in and enjoy it, and if you liked it, then you can learn lots about it if you want to, but it's not a requirement before you go in that door to have some kind of music degree. Okay, I'm here, I've got no music degree. I've never sung. I don't know anything. It's just, a love of opera that grew over the years, and that can be you too. Okay, opera myth number 7. Opera myth number 7. Opera is not relevant today because it's all from 200-300 years ago. Okay, so let's just use Carmen as a small example. People are still making poor choices sometimes when they choose a boyfriend and girlfriend, and Carmen is a good example of some red flags to look out for. Okay, there are choices you can make which will ruin your career. Let's look at John Jose. He's practically engaged to a nice girl next door. His mother approves, and they're all on the track for domestic bliss. Marriage, children, maybe he moves up in the army, gets a better career. They're on track. And then comes attraction to Carmen, who is wild and free. And she sets her sight on Don Jose, and in one day his career is down. He thinks he loves her. A month later they get to meet, for this love meeting, and it's pretty clear in about 10 minutes that Carmen is oh, forget this guy. I thought I loved him, but it ain't gonna work. And then they're thrown together, and then it's not going anywhere good. So that's Don Jose's perspective. Carmen's perspective is, she kind of likes him now, but, a month and a half later, she's on to someone else. And, it's obvious from, about, 5 minutes into that second meeting that he's jealous and dangerous in that jealousy. And so she's doomed as well because of this bad decision. So it's always worth, these things still happen, is my point. Last summer, tragic as it may be, not far from here where I live, a guy stabbed his girlfriend to death and her boyfriend. And so it's not like it never happens, people. You can find Carmen in your paper every day, or maybe she's calling up the local psychologist radio show you've got. I hear her on Dr. Laura all the time. Okay, let's take another one. Faust. Okay, the devil, sin, blah, blah, blah. It's not relevant today. Okay, so the story starts with Faust is a very old man. He's a little disillusioned with life and, kind of feels like he didn't make the most of it. I think it's something we can all kind of relate to as we get older. We've got some of those feelings. And we all, in our culture, being young is where it's at. Okay, we all want that youthfulness. We're buying moisturizer, trying to dress nice, getting our hair done right. Well, not me, obviously, but all that stuff, the wrinkles, the hair, the toupees, everybody wants youth. And so Faust is there, and the demon Mephistopheles comes by, and he's like, hey, I can make you young and hot again. So Faust easily falls for this. Okay, so maybe Mephistopheles is not going to stop by your house tonight, but you may find him on late night TV peddling you some kind of wrinkle cure. And it costs, zillions of dollars that you don't have. And you're going to follow down this track. And maybe he's in your email in a spam with the same kind of offerings of, young women and riches. It's there, okay? And again, in Faust, boy next door falls in love with girl next door who doesn't really see him. I mean, that doesn't happen every day in your neighborhood. And her brother, Valentine, going off to war, worrying about leaving his sister alone because their mother has died. She's all alone in the world. He's very worried. So what, guys don't go off to war and worry about their sisters? There's everything in this opera that you can relate to, and why people say this opera is too old and stuffy-duddy, I don't know. And La Boheme. Okay, they were way ahead of their time. They're all like shacking up, unmarried, and, living the artistic life. And, and the poor girl dies young. If you haven't had that happen in your life, God bless you, because anyone watching Mimi sort of waste away, your heart's got to break. So how can La Boheme not be relevant to us today? Experiencing, love and the loss of innocence, thinking you're going to live forever and kind of getting slapped in the face by the fact that that doesn't happen. So the fact of saying that opera is not relevant is just 100% not true. Okay, so that is the 7 myths or misconceptions about opera. And I hope that you are having a happy National Opera Week and getting some opera in and sharing some opera out to others and all that. We got a few days left. The National Opera Week sale is still going on till Sunday, 20% off with code OperaWeek18. And don't forget, we have right now we have lots of stock as we get closer to the holidays when you really want stuff desperately. Stock may be going down there. So now's a good time to buy. And if you have non-opera friends as well, we've got literature, theater, ballet, different things in those categories that you may find appropriate for your non-opera friends. But hopefully you can turn them into opera friends by debunking the 7 myths of opera. Okay, everybody have a great rest of the week. Talk to you later.